We got one rule for today, and that is anything but Packers with Wayne Larrivee, your longtime voice of the Packers, because we are into the dead zone, Wayne. As we say good morning, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
You are a man of many interests and passions and talents. And you were with Brian Butch last night at the induction of a fellow iconic Hall of Fame broadcaster in the form of Matt LePay. I want to hear all about the night. How you doing today? You feeling all right?
Feeling good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Butchie, how was Wayne last night?
Oh, it was great.
Nice.
It was a great night. I got to meet his beautiful wife. It was fantastic. Like it was a great night, and I was glad that we were there to support Matt. It was a really fun night. Very, very lucky to have Wayne and Matt being able to call games for us as sports fans. Like we in Wisconsin, we are so lucky to have these guys represent our teams.
No, we had a great time, Butchie, with you and your wife and everything. It was a great evening, and well-deserved honor for Matt, long overdue. And I think everybody felt really good about the fact that he went into the Hall of Fame, as he should. I mean, he's over 30 years broadcasting Wisconsin basketball and later on football, and just an iconic member of the community. And so it was great to see that happen.
Now, do you guys still do a podcast, the Larrivee and LePay podcast? How many episodes in are we on this?
Well, we finished the second season. We're in hiatus, as is everybody else, except this show.
You don't have to be in hiatus, Wayne.
You can always talk
cooking recipes,
music.
What is or is not country music, and on and on. I'll give you a list of downtime topics.
Okay. But no, we're coming back in the fall, in August, with some fresh set of podcasts. So, yeah, it'll be twice a month, and we look forward to it. I enjoy it because I get a chance to visit with Matt, and, we talk about a lot of different things on that podcast.
Do you ever have you done a podcast about young aspiring play-by-play men and women and what they should think about or perhaps do if they want to do what you guys do?
No, not specifically, but we've, talked about the different ways we do our job. I mean, everybody does it differently. And, we've talked about that on the podcast, and we'll continue to do things like that. But that would be a good topic to, what if you're new in the business? The problem is that things have changed so much, and that my path in this business is not the same as somebody who's trying to get into the business today. It just isn't. And everybody's path is different getting into this business. Czabe, yours was different from mine, I'm sure. And Butchie, yours is a different path than any of us have had. And so, it's an interesting business to get into. It's a rough business right now. But I would say this, you can ask us about how we got involved, how we got into the business, but that may not be applicable to what you're facing today.
Well, I started out wanting to be you, Wayne, as the young voice of the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. Wow. Then I realized that there's a lot of really talented guys like you, and the talented guys like you don't have the decency to retire ever.
But
it's very hard to get up to the top of that pyramid.
You know this, Dave, and Wayne, you know this if you're a young person. There's one thing that's true. It's changed. I agree because I've had conversations with a lot of you guys about how you got in and what it is. But there's one thing that's true. You always say yes. That's the one thing that's a consistent. If you're asked to do anything, high school game, whatever it might be, your answer is always yes. You'll do it because at some point they'll stop asking.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is persistence. I remember the first job I got in the NFL was in Kansas City in 1978. I'm like 23 years old. I answered an ad in Broadcasting Magazine, sent a tape down there, got a form letter back. And then, 2 months later, I saw the same ad in the Broadcasting Magazine. Well, now I've got this form letter, but I've got the guy's name on there, Tom Barsani. I'll never forget it. I got a phone number, so I called him up and I said, "Would you mind if I reapplied?" He was kind of taken aback by that. He said, "Yeah, go ahead, send a tape in." So I sent him the same tape I sent the first time because I figured they didn't ever listen to it the first time. They did the second time, and then one thing led to another, on and on and on. It was a long process, but I eventually got the job. So, you're going to hear no a lot from potential employers. You just have to stay at it, and that's the hard thing. You got to have some thick skin if you're trying to break in.
Yeah, very nice. So, what did Matt say in his speech last night?
Oh, he thanked a lot of people that, kind of helped him along the way, and recalled how, hey, coming over from Ohio in 1988, something like that. And he was here. He gets hired by Jeff Tyler and the radio station, and that was doing the games at the time down in Madison. And it was great. It was great to hear that background, because we know Matt LePay today, but to know the young Matt LePay who came in. And I've known Matt long before I got to Wisconsin. He and I were broadcasters in the Big Ten. So I'd gotten to know him quite well before I even came to the Packers.
So Matt is from Ohio.
He is. And in true Matt LePay fashion, it was thank you to everybody. He didn't talk about himself. It was like, when you hit right on that, it was thank you to everybody that helped him get there. And that's why everyone loves Matt, because that's just the way he handles his business. Always. Wayne, same with you. It's the way you handle your business. It's never about you guys. It's always about thank you for the people that helped you get to where you're at. And that's also why, we're, as a guy that's new in this and trying to continue to see how the pros do it, to see how you and Matt and BA and Jeff Lever, how you guys represent yourselves as a young guy, I watch, because it's never about you guys. And in this industry, there's a lot of guys that make it about themselves, and you guys don't. And it's so refreshing, because that's just the type of person I am as well.
Well, just try to forget last night.
Okay. All right, we can do that.
Please take that off the table. All right. And go from there. No, we had a good time last night. It was fun. And especially after the ceremony and everything else. We had a couple of cocktails across the street, and it was nice. Very nice.
It was.
Does Matt have a game or a call that he considers his best game or best call in his Badger career, both for football and or basketball?
Well, that's a good question, because there's so many. It might be one of the Rose Bowl games they did. He did 6 Rose Bowls, and could be a Big Ten championship game. But I haven't really asked him that. I should ask him that. That's
ask
a good
him that on the podcast.
Well, I think it's a
when
bank
it comes
shot
back
at
from
Indiana,
hiatus.
and that was probably yours too. Wayne and Matt were both on that call of that bank shot. Did you know that, Czabe?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wayne was on the call for TV. Matt was on the call for radio.
That's great. I would imagine some
Hall.
of Matt's calls for the Russell Wilson era, brief as it was, are bonkers, because Russell Wilson got the Badgers out of all kinds of tight situations in that season. It was a magical year.
It was.
I'm sure his calls were outstanding for those.
Yeah, no question about it. And so, it was great to kind of celebrate that last night as broadcasters.
Yeah. Well, very good. We wish Matt well in his retirement, and send your resumes to – wait, what? No, he's not retiring? See, that's my point, Wayne. That's my point. He's had such a great career, and he keeps doing it, but that's because he's still quite young and quite good. And why would you change? If he wants to do it, you should still keep doing it. So,
and he'll do it for a long time. Absolutely.
Yeah. I did not get to watch, because I was at Summerfest and you guys were at the Hall of Fame banquet there for Matt. I didn't get to watch much of the game, Major League game, from I want to say Ricketts Field or Ricketts Stadium. Is it Ricketts in Birmingham?
Yeah.
The Negro League tribute that Willie Mays was going to be the centerpiece of. As a baseball fan and a guy who's not 24 years old, Wayne, I would imagine, like myself,
Rick Wood,
thank you, not Ricketts. I would imagine that you kind of got a lot of the feels seeing baseball do this, that this was a really cool thing. Your stat of the day, brought to you by Quick Trip, is this game, which counted in the standings between the Giants and the Cardinals, and I forget who won. It was 6-5. Don't quote me on who won. But apparently it's the oldest game, it's the only game played in an old stadium since 1990, when Comiskey finally went dark, because Comiskey was built a couple of years prior to Rickwood in 1910. Wow. So in other words, first time since 1990, a field older than Comiskey, or a field not named Comiskey Park, was the oldest ballpark used in baseball.
Really? So, and those ballparks, Comiskey and this one, predated Wrigley Field and Fenway Park and those stadiums?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't realize that.
So it was a really cool deal that they did, and I just wanted your thoughts on it and the way that baseball went about doing it. And do you have any ideas for future, what I call vintage site games?
Boy, that's a good question. I mean, I love what they did. I loved what they did with the Field of Dreams games that they had there. The first one being the White Sox and the Yankees years ago, and this was classic. I saw the pictures of the stadium and everything. I didn't see the game. I don't know how it presented on TV, but the stadium looked just super. It looked tremendous. It very much like it was back in the 30s and 20s. So
did you see any Reggie Jackson talking about his days coming up in baseball? Reggie being an iconic Yankee.
Yeah. No, I didn't see any of it. But
how are you with Reggie, really by the way, as a Yankee fan? Where does Reggie sit in the pantheon for you as a Yankee, given his feuds with Steinbrenner and with his manager over the years? Classic stuff from the 70s and 80s.
I'm pretty good with Reggie because he hit 3 home runs in Game 6 of the World Series against the Dodgers. So that made him a real Yankee for a change. But is he in the pantheon of Ruth and Gehrig and Mantle and those people? Jeter? No, I don't think so.
But what a moniker of Mr. October.
But yeah, I mean that's the classic. I mean. So I think he's certainly on that mount, but he's not probably, from a Yankee fan standpoint, he's probably not in that same level as some of those other guys I mentioned. But he's still Mr. October, and he became Mr. October in New York. And that's really what, even though he had tremendous success in Oakland where they won 3 in a row.
Yes, exactly. The year after he hit the 3 home runs in the World Series, weren't they back there, and didn't he strike out 3 times in a game against the Dodgers? I seem to remember as a young boy watching that. And of course, I was not rooting for the Yankees. I was a Dodger fan. My mom grew up watching the Dodgers in Brooklyn before they moved to LA. So I was rooting for the Dodgers. And I just remember, on the 3rd strikeout, Reggie corkscrews himself into the batter's box and kind of snatches his bat in frustration that it took a year later to get back at Reggie for what he did to them the year before.
Yeah, that 78 season was incredible. Billy Martin and Reggie had a big fight. I think it was in the 77 season. Billy gets fired the following year. The team comes through Kansas City, where I'm working and covering the Royals, and they come through Kansas City, and Billy gets fired. Reggie is conducting this press conference, and I mean, everybody's kneeling down so the cameras can get a shot of Reggie in the whole bit, and it was amazing just to be part of that scrum. But the Yankees in 78 made a comeback and beat Boston in that playoff game. And I believe they played the Dodgers again in the series, did they not? And beat them a second time in a row. And then the Dodgers got the Yankees in 1981 in that strike-shortened year.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's an incredible series. But, watching these teams now, the Dodgers, I think in baseball today, you have the Dodgers. The Baltimore Orioles are probably the best team right now in baseball, in my opinion. And I've seen these teams recently, obviously. And then, you've got the Philadelphia Phillies. They're on one level. And then the Yankees and probably the Guardians and a few other teams on the next level. And then you got a third level in there where the Brewers are one of the better teams now and playing very well. So it's interesting how baseball is kind of leveling off into these different tiers. Doesn't mean those top tier teams are going to guarantee to win the playoffs and World Series. But by the same token, right now, those are the teams to beat. Atlanta's probably on that 2nd or 3rd tier right now with the injuries they have.
All right. Very good. What's on tap for the weekend, Wayno?
Me? I got yard work. I wish I could say golf, but it's
yard work with your repaired back. Is that cleared by the doctors?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can.
Better be light yard work. What kind of yard work? I don't want you bending over pulling weeds. I don't want you lifting bags of mulch.
The Sweat Equity Brothers can come over and do it for you.
Wouldn't that be great? The Sweat Equity Brothers come over and do Wayne's yard work with the YouTube filming. Oh my God.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of.
Wayne's a big fan of that.
Wayne's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, Wayne doesn't know us, but halfway through, we'd come into his house, sit on the couch, and say, we'll get to it afternoon. We got a game we're going to watch quick.
Right.
I've got some Miller Genuine Draft for you if you come
Okay.
out.
We wouldn't get any work done.
All right. Don't overdo it, Wayne. That's all we got to say. Don't overdo it.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right.
Hey,
Thank
look
you.
forward to the game on Sunday.
There you go. Wayne
Russell's
Larrivee.
replay.
That's right. Wayne Larrivee, your longtime voice of the